Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Going into season 2, I would say like one of the top priorities, if not priority number 1 for Warzone, was the state of console. Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, does not matter the console. In general, the console gameplay experience was pretty brutal, borderline unplayable in several cases. And for what it's worth, the season 2 update did see a handful of console updates, but did it fully fix console? Today I wanted to break this down, look at the general console experience, look at what Raven has still yet to actually update in game according to their Trello and some of the posts that they've put out. As we break it all down, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD, news, updates, loadouts, tips. You're gonna find it all right here. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. And also, if you ever want to cop a pair of Gamer Advantage glasses, I use these things all day, every day. They are perfect if you're staring at screens for any decent amount of time. They offer prescription and regular lenses, tons of different frame options. I love these things, and Code WHosImmortal gets you a nice little discount at checkout. Link down in the description below. So the first thing I want to look at is just the general consensus of what happened to console with the season 2 update, because as you guys know, I play on PC. I haven't played Warzone on console since back in the Verdansk days, right? But obviously I try and stay in touch with the console player base as much as I can. I'm obviously reading all the comments, seeing all the tweets, seeing Reddit threads, this, that, and everything else. And so I wanted to know what the console players felt about season 2 so far. So I tweeted a couple days back, console players, what's your experience like in Warzone season 2 so far? By the way, if you don't follow me on Twitter, feel free to do so. I'm trying to get verified over here and they just don't like me for whatever reason. But the general consensus here I thought was really curious because there's a lot of back and forth in these replies. So like, for instance, every game, almost as soon as we drop in, the game freezes for like 5 seconds. This is something that I saw a ton of. Not constant but consistent freezing, where you'll pick up a gun, it'll freeze for a few seconds. You'll open a supply crate, it'll freeze for a few seconds. You load into the game, it freezes for a few seconds. So there's definitely a freezing issue going on in game, where it's you freezing, it's not the server, because players will note like this, it makes your character move forward, so your character is playing in game but your screen is frozen. So you could freeze and suddenly be walking outside of a door into 3 enemies staring you down with snipers, right? So that's definitely a big issue. There's a freeze issue that is very prominent, I think, on all platforms as well, PlayStation and Xbox alike. Definitely improved, but I keep seeing the spring error. This is something that I also see in game. This is a big timeout error that's going on in game. You'll probably notice when you're in the pre-game that you'll have a lobby of 140, 150 players, and then suddenly 18 players get the spring dev error and they all time out of the lobby, and so you start with like 120 or 130. Kind of obnoxious. So that's another big issue that I see happening, particularly to console players. I have not gotten that myself on PC. So far so good. All in all, I'm happy. So there are some players that have a much smoother experience with season 2, which is good news. But the ultimate end goal here is not for 50% of players on console to have a decent experience and the other 50% to be freezing and glitching out and doing all sorts of bugs like that. I played for 10 minutes on my PlayStation before my game crashed, but in those 10 minutes the game actually rendered, so at least they fixed some of the rendering stuff. But in general, you get the sort of gist of it here. There are several issues when it comes to servers lagging, the game crashing, freezing, and while it is fixed for some players, it's definitely not a universal update that has seemingly made Warzone replayable and fixed it out of that incredibly broken state from season 1. And that can be seen as well when we go over to the Trello board here. I'll zoom in a bit. We look at the global issues. This was a very long list. Right now, there's not much scrolling you have to do, but if we go through and look at all the issues that they are still currently investigating, the first one, artifacting. Some players are experiencing visual inconsistencies with weapon and operator models. This primarily had to do with the demon glitch, which is like the whole basically your gun turns into a blob or an operator turns into a blob. It seems like that was fixed for the vast majority of players, unlike the 50-50 freezing issues and server crashes. However, there are still issues. One of them is actually on the Trello board as we scroll it more, so obviously we'll get to that. PlayStation performance is still not where they want it to be, so they didn't take that one off the Trello board. While there were some performance issues addressed with the season 2 update, by no means is it the smoothest experience possible. They should be able to have games that consistently run lag free, packet burst free. They shouldn't have to worry about all those bugs and glitches that Caldera seemingly introduced into the game. Voice chat having various issues across cross-platform. That's still a thing that's been on there for a while, since December 9th, obviously. Invisible skins. These are again back and forth. Again, as we get further up the Trello board, we'll see why. But they did fix the primary broken invisible skin. There were a couple of those, and it did end up fixing those, we shouldn't see as many fully invisible skins, but there are still some issues going on there. Same thing that we saw earlier for PlayStation, Xbox performance. There's various issues regarding performance on Xbox platforms. That is both gens they're talking about there, Xbox One and Series X and S. So obviously that's got to be priority number one. Between this issue right here and the PlayStation issue, that's got to be the top of the list. The Season 2 update, I would say from a gameplay standpoint, is probably one of the best updates that we've ever got. The gameplay adjustments, the parachuting updates, phenomenal. The balloons, probably my favorite thing Warzone has ever added. Like, I was talking with some of my friends, Ink Slasher, Espresso Lazy, as we were playing. It's like, you know, this might be the best thing they've actually added to gameplay to enhance the gameplay experience. I was saying, you know, maybe up there with buyback stimulus modes, maybe BR quads 200, but those are temporary. This is a permanent thing. I love how this adjusted the gameplay pacing. Like, the gameplay elements that Season 2 brought were phenomenal, but it's only fun if you can actually experience it. So having these console issues still, despite the delay for Season 2 that was supposed to directly focus on some of these console issues, is a bit disappointing because obviously there's such a huge chunk of the player base that can't play the game. And I'm going to continue to talk about this until I can see a list of, 100, 200 comments on my videos or a million tweets over on Twitter saying, hey, my console experience is smooth now. I'm not crashing. I'm not freezing. I'm not getting insane frame stutters. Unfortunately, like 120 hertz, that's on Microsoft more so than Raven. So we have to wait on Microsoft to physically fix that. FOV slider probably is not going to be coming until, Warzone 2, but the core gameplay elements that shouldn't be broken, that are still broken, need to be on top of that priority list. Redeploy balloons not showing up on the TAC map, that's a small, like, quality of life update. This is the invisible skin thing. Missing head. Players will observe that the bundle up Wade operator skin is in fact missing its head. There is a headless horseman skin in the game right now. That's what they're referencing with some of the operator inconsistencies with the models, then also the invisible skins. So if you run into the headless horseman, it is a known glitch. You're not, just seeing an early Halloween bundle or something like that. And then the newest one that they added on there, freezing. Just like we talked about over with the Twitter replies, players are experiencing freezing in various situations throughout a match. It doesn't seem to be happening as much specifically like on the buy stations or right as you grab a loadout, but instead randomly throughout a game, right when it starts, when you're opening a chest, when you're interacting with this, that, or anything else in the world. So it's definitely not fixed entirely. There are several chunks of Warzone that have been fixed and updated and are running smoother, but like I said, until it's not a 50-50 split of my experience is great and I can still barely play the game, we're not going to be sitting in a good spot in terms of player reception and the quality of life and the good overall gameplay experience that Warzone should have at this point. So I did want to highlight some of these issues, bring them to light, and talk about how console did get some upgrades with Season 2, but it's still far from perfect, and a lot of work does still need to be done there. As we see new changes implemented to help out the performance, whether it be on console, whether it be on PC even, of course, we're going to be covering them here on the channel, so stick it here for that and everything else going on. News, updates, loadouts, tips, you're going to find it all right here. Be sure to subscribe with your notifications turned on. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. It would be seriously appreciated. But that said, that's going to wrap things up for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.